My name is Joel Fish. I'm a licensed psychologist and sports psychologist, and I've played different roles with the University of Pennsylvania for close to 20 years. Steve Bilski had me one day come in and give a presentation to the coaches, and the first question I asked the coaches, and it's still the first question I ask all the student athletes at Penn that I work with, is what percentage of performance is mental? Confidence, composure, concentration, communication, teamwork. And all the coaches said it's 30%, 50%, 80% mental. And my response is, if performance is a large percentage mental, let's talk about ways that we can develop a plan to improve student athlete mental skills. And ever since that presentation with Steve, he was interested in me being a resource for the department. Grace has been terrific in continuing my connection with Penn. And here I am today. I am part-time at Penn as a consultant and as a sports performance and psychology resource. And I've had a chance to work over 25 years with athletes of all ages and skill levels, from little kids all the way through the Olympic and professional ranks. I've worked as a sports psychology consultant with all the teams in Philadelphia at different areas, all the pro teams, that is. As I said, I've worked with many professional athletes, Olympic athletes, elite athletes, but all the way down to youth sports. In fact, I'm very proud. I wrote a book a number of years ago called 101 Ways to Be a Terrific Sports Parent. So both at the youth sport level all the way up to the professional level, the game is largely mental. And my goal is always the same, which is to help develop a plan to improve the mental part of performance and to help teach skills that are helpful to our student athletes at Penn, both on and off the playing field. Because the same skills that I'm involved with as it relates to confidence, composure, concentration, communication, teamwork, sports is a wonderful arena to learn those life skills. But why I love what I do is that those same skills are applicable to our student athletes at Penn as students in their personal lives. And when they leave Penn, hopefully I've taught them something that they can apply to their family life as well as their work life. I'll start by saying that having been around a lot of organizations over 25 years of doing this work, Penn football and Coach Priori and his staff and Andrea Wieland and Miguel Rivera, this program is as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets in terms of trying to provide their student athletes with all the resources to be the best they can be on the field, off the field. I am an example that Coach Priori understands the importance of developing our student athletes in a holistic way. We have strength and conditioning, we have nutrition, we have sports psychology. And my role and the way Coach Priori includes me with his staff, the student athletes, I'm just part of the team. And that's where I like to be introduced. So I'm involved in a lot of team meetings. I'm involved in a lot of coaches meetings. Joel's part of the team. That's the best way to introduce someone like myself. And he understands that someone like myself can benefit his student athletes both as a sport performance resource, where I'll teach the student athlete strategies, positive self-talk, relaxation, focusing, mental preparation. What do you like to do the night before a game? What do you like to do an hour before a game, 5 minutes before a game? Visualization. But we train our players the night before a game, 10 minutes before a game, to close their eyes and visualize, today's my day. I feel like a champion. My body's like a well-oiled machine. Because we know in sports psychology, when you visualize yourself in a certain situation, it increases the chances that when you're in that situation, you can feel like you've been there before. And you feel like you've been there before, you're going to feel more self-confident. If you're more self-confident, your natural ability is going to flow more. So I'm a resource to help in that sport performance area to teach those strategies and techniques. The psychology part of sport performance psychology, which Coach has me connected to, Andrea Wieland has been instrumental in, Grace Calhoun is fully supported, is anything in the student athlete's personal life that can be impacting on their athletic performance. So over the years, I've talked to Penn football players about anxiety, stress, family relationships, real world situations. And if the situation is such that perhaps they need a resource that's there on a full-time basis, I can be an entree into working with CAPS and working with other support services that exist at the Penn campus. But I like to feel like that when someone like myself addresses those issues sooner rather than later, we have a better chance to find the right treatment for that person, but also we can nip some potential problems in the bud. Penn football does, and the Penn athletic department does, and having resources like myself around is ahead of the curve. It's ahead of the curve. In football, many coaches will talk about the importance of the mental game, but Coach Priore is really dedicated to, in a regular, consistent way, teaching the skills that are part of the mental part of the game, prioritizing a role like mine, having me included as part of the team, player development. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Priore and Dr. Calhoun for recognizing that someone like myself can really be an important part of player development, team development, in this era where holistic development of the player is important, in an area where there's been a priority, as there needs to be, in my opinion, when the mental health of our student athletes. The athletic department is committed to providing those kinds of resources on a regular basis, on a proactive basis. And I just want to, again, make sure that my opinion is clear, that Penn is ahead of the curve, and it's really a wonderful opportunity for someone like myself to be there, as well as with all the other support services, to make an impact in the growth and development of our student athletes as people, as well as athletes. Sure, I've worked with athletes of all ages and skill levels, and quite honestly, the college age, 18 to 22, is still my favorite age group to work with, because 18 to 22, we're still forming our identities and we're still learning skills to be the best we can be. And so this age group to me is ripe because our personalities have already developed, but they're not crystallized. So we're still very open to learning new strategies and techniques to be more in control of our emotions rather than our emotions being in control of us. And it's interesting to me, clearly every age group, the licensed psychologist part of me recognizes that developmentally, skills need to be taught in different ways. It's different in teaching an 8-year-old positive self-talk than it is an 18-year-old positive self-talk. And it's different at the college age than if I'm trying to teach that skill at the pro level. But it's interesting to me that there's actually more in common than one would think. That confidence, for example, is an issue that many people, no matter what their age, 8 to 18 to the pro levels, are still learning how to improve. So oftentimes, I think performance, as you move up towards elite athletes, is played under a bigger microscope. More people are noticing. If you peel away the layers, oftentimes issues related to confidence and composure, concentration, how adequate am I, how competent am I, how do I handle pressure, how do I deal with all the noise that's out there with social media? It's, after all these years, surprising to me that athletes, even at the college and professional and elite athletes, have a lot in common with youth sport athletes. There's many ways more in common than there is difference, no matter what the age group, no matter what the skill level. All the student athletes, all the coaches have my cell phone number, have my email. So the student athlete can either reach out to me directly by cell phone, by FaceTime, by Zoom. If they want it to be confidential, that's really, really important to me. Meaning, if they reach out to me and say, hey, Joe, I want to talk to you about this, but this needs to stay between me and you, I take that very, very seriously. And I always tell the student athlete, it is confidential, but if there's a major red flag that's going on in your life, I will go with you to tell the coach, hey, coach, this is what's happening. I will work with the athlete to do that. And I tell the coaches, look, if there's a major red flag and one of the student athletes, like, that athlete and I will come to you and talk to you about that. So the athletes have my contact information so that they can reach out to me directly. But I'm being introduced as part of player development, strength and conditioning, nutrition. This is all part of their growth, player development. Coach Priore and his staff have done a terrific job in normalizing my role. Feelings, thoughts, welcome to the club. Let's talk about a game plan to how to address those feelings and thoughts a little bit better. So the coaches may sometimes say to me, hey, Joel, maybe you want to check in on so-and-so. He's not himself. His performance has been inconsistent. His confidence level ebbs and flows a little too much. Can you help him learn some strategies and techniques to focus in a more consistent manner? So the coaches sometimes will say, hey, Joel, maybe you can reach out to so-and-so. But the groundwork has been set. The buy-in, I believe, is really there from the players. This is Joel's role. This is player development. So if a coach refers a player to me, or I like to believe that player understands this is player development. It's not because he has a flaw. It's not because he has a problem. Joel's a resource to help me be the best I can be. And so sometimes the players now will reach out to me directly. Sometimes the coaches will nudge me towards a player. I'm proud of the fact that sometimes I'll help the coaches in response to the question, so what do you think about so-and-so? How can I best motivate him? Or what are ways that I might be able to teach some mental skills to this athlete? I'd like to feel that one of my roles is also coach's professional development, helping the helpers, if you will. And Coach Priore has been terrific in terms of listening to my points of view as it relates to building team culture, learning how to develop the identity of the team, all in a professional development way. He has been as good as it gets in terms of asking questions and being open to my perspective. And he's wonderful in terms of just getting different people's opinions, mine included, in terms of for us to develop the best team culture, for us to develop the teamwork, the leadership, for us to be the best we can be. I do work with a player. I usually try to take them through a three-step process. Step one, what are your own feelings, student athletes, about winning, losing, success, failure, competition? Like, all our student athletes aren't wired the same. They don't all have the same makeup. Step two then is helping the player to identify a specific challenging situation, a mentally challenging situation that they may face. Maybe they have trouble letting go of a mistake. Maybe they have difficulty in focusing on a consistent way. Maybe as well-intentioned as mom and dad are, they get nervous when mom and dad are there or one of their parents are there. Okay, let's hone in on a specific situation where sometimes you can improve in your confidence, composure, concentration, communication, teamwork. And then step three is developing what I would call a mental game plan to address that challenging mental situation. Positive self-talk, because what we think influences how we feel, how we perform. Relaxation. First down 2 yards ago for a touchdown. Some of our players are still learning how to slow down. Take a deep breath, like I'm doing with you right now. Maybe our plan revolves around focusing and concentration and strategies to maintain consistency of that. Or if they do get distracted, how do they refocus? Maybe our plan involves mental preparation, a routine. Maybe it involves learning visualization skills. So step three is developing a mental game plan, if you will, to address some of those challenging mental issues. And my goal is, and I believe this, it might be one play during the season, one play. If we've practiced relaxation, positive self-talk, and it's first down 2 yards ago for a touchdown, what we've practiced over the course of the year may be applicable to one big play. And most of our games are decided by 3 or 4 plays. So at the level I'm working at, I'm hoping to teach them skills that are applicable, but applicable may help us in just one game. It may not be something that every play they do, but when they're in that situation, they're better able to say, I'm in this situation. Mentally, I know what to do. And whenever you can think, I know what to do, as I said earlier, you're going to feel more confident. You feel more confident, your natural talent's going to flow.